good morning and welcome. Now everywhere, we have been since yesterday, and every forum you hear is sustainability, policy and technology. So for pulp and paper industry also, it has become a buzzword. Not a buzzword, it's a daily happening, and it is getting converged, as the title says. The policy sets the rule of the game. The sustainability defines the ultimate goal, and technology is the vehicle that takes us to the ultimate goal, right? So for this particular well-anticipated team, I am very happy that we have three distinguished experts on their field, in their fields, who kindly agreed to our request to be on the panel. So first of all, let me invite them on the stage. Mr. Vikas Ranjan, please. Please give them a big round of applause. Thanks for joining us, sir. Mr. Muthu Sedian, Executive Director, CII, JBC. Welcome, sir. And our own friend, Mr. Alagiri. A big round of applause. Let me give a quick introduction, say one time. Mr. Vikas Ranjan. Hello? Mr. Vikas Ranjan is the CEO and founder of Pledge for Earth. I love that name, sir. Pledge for Earth. That sounds so clear and the message is so clear. Great. I like this heading. With over 30 years of experience, he has been on forefront of shaping India's climate and energy landscape through policy, engineering and process consultancy. He has been playing a pivotal role in developing India's carbon credit trading scheme. That is what we are heading for, CCTS, continuing to rules, procedures and MRV framework. Previously, he has worked with Project Head, Climate Smart Buildings in Ghaziabad, supported Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and Bureau of Energy Efficiency. This is what we are looking for, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, is a deep involvement. Earlier at BE, he was the instrumental in implementing National Mission of Enhanced Energy Efficiency, leading the development and flagship club perform PAD scheme. So he was involved in the PAD scheme, and his outstanding contribution to carbon markets, energy efficiency and climate action across India and Southeast Asia have earned him wide recognition in the sustainability sector. So thank you very much for joining us, sir. And despite your busy traveling schedule, I'm grateful. Mr. Muthu Sedian, call him Mr. Muthu fondly. Mr. Muthu is the Executive Director, Green Manufacturing at CII GBC Center in Hyderabad, with over 30 years of experience in energy and environmental sustainability. An engineer by profession and a postgraduate in energy management. He is also Chevening Fellow from the University of Birmingham, specializing in economics of energy. He has been instrumental in promoting green manufacturing and net zero initiatives through the CII Green Pro rating system, helping industries adopt sustainable practices. His expertise spans climate change, energy efficiency, water and waste management, material conservation, recycling, green supply chains, green finance, and green cycle and life cycle assessment. So the topic we are looking for, I could get the right people to talk about our theme. Mr. Alagiri is the Deputy General Manager Engineering at ITC Limited, Paperboards and Specialty Paper Division Unit, Mobile. Over 30 years of experience in paper industry, a mechanical engineer graduate and a fellow of Institute of Engineers. He also holds a diploma in sustainability management from the Swedish Institute, Stockholm. He has successfully led energy conservation and decarbonization initiatives through energy efficient power, wind and solar energy projects. his leadership has also driven key environmental improvements initiatives, enabling the unit to achieve the prestigious CII Green Book Plus and AWS certification. So that was their introduction, sir. So it's my proud privilege that they are here. Give them a big round of applause before we start. Now a brief introduction about me. You all know me, but I owe you a justification why secretary style. It was an instruction from our chairman program committee, and the reason was quite justifiable and valid. I have been involved with these three gentlemen for the last 1.5 years very deeply, because I have been conducting M&B studies for industries. In fact, last three large paper plants I could be involved with the monitoring and verification. Green co-assessment, CII, Mr. Muthu, my mentor, in fact, he has taught me green co-assessment I have done at various units, including ITC, Mr. Alagiri. And of course, Mr. Alagiri, my friend, who every visit to ITC, Goa unit or Madrasa, anything, it's a eye-opening and a great learning experience. So with that, the modus operandi of this panel would be, I would mostly be on a silent mode, like you all. Okay, so the game rules will be, initially, we will play a power play, initially with no restrictions. I'll give them total freedom to totally give their views individually. Okay, that will be power play, no restriction. Then towards the mid-time, I would try to change over the bowling, and I would shoot across with my different colored cards with me. I'll shoot over some questions, some bowling changes, and you will be shuffling around. Okay? And then towards the end, it will be rapid fire. Last over, they'll try to hit maximum scores. So that will be the rapid fire. Idea is to send across the total knowledge, It's such a huge subject, but consigning it to 1 hour, it would be difficult, three different topics with different subjects. But at least I'll try to do my best only to maintain that flow. Most of the talking they will do. And towards the end, of course, I want to leave some time aside for some free hits by you all delegates. So you can throw in your questions and whatever time you have, right? So we'll start off with Vikas. Vikas, please go ahead. Pick up your mic and power play. Go ahead with what all you can talk about. The TED, CCGS or net zero, in a nutshell, let us delegates understand what it is.
Thank you very much, Dilip. Thanks, audience. Well, I was supposed to come much earlier in this program. Thank you, Ivka, for inviting me. From where I will start? Basically, I worked in many of the plants. I worked in plants in different areas like maintenance projects, energy conservations, and everywhere in cement, power, textile. Plastics, lightings, and all. So there are lots of things which has been instrumental in my journey towards energy conservation and then finally up to mitigation of carbon. Well, it was started in 2012 when I joined Bureau of Energy Efficiency through GIZ, where this perform achievement phase has just started. And it was our responsibility to make it happen because it was all new. It was all new because the world has never experienced the systems that we are trying to achieve, basically the e-certs market, energy savings certificates market. So at that time we went along with different categories of plant, not with respect to paper only. There are 8 sectors at that time, including the and totally 4 cemented industries were given the target ultimately. So that was the conditions when we tried a compliance systems within the sectors, especially those who are basically not organized. So I could say that in 2012, textile and paper was the industry where we find it a little difficult to get the data in place where when we have developed the performance for setting the targets, for setting the inputs from the plant itself. There are lots of questions asked. We have around 70 odd workshops and more than 100 interactions with the plant, and finally came up with a target in 2012. And in the year 2015-16, we had the first background cycle verifications, MRV, and that we have developed the MRV documents, guidelines, where and this was the first time that India is doing that. So it has been a long way from PAD to now CCTS. There are lots of things that have been changed, right from the manual systems in 2012-16. Now we are into the AI zone basically. So everything's are on the tip of the systems where you can get all this data quickly and fast and analyze it very well. That is how we are working into the conditions as well. We are trying to go ahead with DMRV, digitalized MRV systems, completely, not completely this time, but maybe in few years we will be getting that one as well. So this is the policies that we are talking about, and one more thing that has come out in these policies is about the renewable consumption certificates as well, RCO. So obligations was there for the consumptions in the plant itself, and that is again it is going in parallel with the CCTS right now. So it's a big time now. This is the first cycle of CCTS, and the compliance year has already gone, and you will all be submitting the Form A, the Proformas, the Form E2 to the Bureau of Energy Efficiency for the assessments through the ACDA. That is what it is required. So there are many things which come along, including the monitoring plan that you wanted to have this over time. So why this is happening? Why government is pushing sectors like paper and other energy intensive sector to go ahead with taking the compliance market and getting it into the conversion with respect to money? Because we know that the climate change which is happening all around. This year, the Europe has experienced summer which has been never experienced before in the current generation. So they went out into the water, the pond, getting it to it down. But it is all basically why it has happened because of they are not used to it. They are not supposed to get such type of heats of 40 to 40 degrees centigrade there, and the houses are not constructed at that time. So this is it. We are here because of this issue, but I know the 2 degree has already been there. It is not into the market. It is basically it has happened. It is already there, and you are all experiencing the extreme of everything, extreme of weathers like the heat waves, like the rainy seasons when we have extreme rain somewhere and no rain somewhere as well. That is what is happening. So I share one of my experience when I visited Lakshadweep. There when we had the scuba diving in one of the islands at Lakshadweep, I saw the corals, the dead corals over there. Dead corals. Why? Because of this temperature only. The locals say the temperature of that region, that sea water, has risen to around 5 degrees centigrade. That's the reason the coral has dead. And when the dead coral was there is no fish around. When I saw the live corals, which is far away from the island, the fish were there to survive. So why I'm quoting this experience, because we are into earth where everything is live now. When there is a dead thing which is coming around, then nobody will do it alive. So we have to give something to the next generations. So we have to work on it. It is not just doing what government is saying. It has to come through your own systems. It has to be owned by you, owned by the sector itself. So there are lots of things which is coming up from the industry side as well and from the government as well. So I will talk about more when we get along with more delivery. Thank you very much.
Mr. Muthu, your opening remark for power.
Thank you, Mr. Chandrana, for the introduction, and it's really my pleasure to be part of this panel discussion and to be part of this regional conference. I thank IPTA for that. I think CA Green Business Center is having long association with IPTA and IPMA. So I remember even before the Green Business Center, CA started energy audit services since 91. I think most of the paper plants, the energy audit team has been doing energy audit. Today, even the CCTS verification and many other MRBs. I think in 97 when Ministry of Power come out with a project with CA in terms of developing specific energy conservation norms, I think IPTA was the partner, and then we have long association, more than 3 decades. And of course, IPMA, the other leaders here, they're all actively involved in our paper tech and also the world-class paper initiatives where we are looking at how to have world-class energy efficiency in the paper sector. I think maybe last 15 years, more than 15 years we are working on it. Maybe with respect to this topic, I would like to start with the background in terms of the green company rating, which you already referred. You are also part of the assessment panel. CI, right from in a small way, started with energy efficiency activities. Today we have about 200 experts working on multiple areas, right from green buildings, green products. And in 2010 mid, there are a group of people come out with an idea. So when you have rating for buildings, why do you have rating for manufacturing companies also? So at that time we had about 120 experts from various sectors throughout the country were part of the discussion. So I would like to thank Mr. Sanjay Singh with a big team as part of the first steering committee which we launched in 2010 June. And then we had about 9 to 10 months time in terms of getting the guidelines and framework ready, which is called the Green Company Rating. And ITC paper was the first manufacturing company to implement the rating in 2012 as a pilot. And then later 2013, Dr. Abdul Kalam launched the first version of the rating, and today we have about 1,600 manufacturing plants which are working on it. Of course, people like Mr. Krishnan, Alagiri, they were all part of ITC, and then today SPB, TNPL, and Sripati also working on Greenco. Maybe I will urge the other paper plants also to start implementing this green company rating. Maybe I'll just take a few minutes to explain how this is different from the other standards and certifications. So in 2011, when we started these initiatives, it was really a holistic exercise was done by the experts. And in 2011, the objective was, through Greenco rating, the manufacturing sector should achieve carbon neutral, water positive, and zero waste land. So I think today it has become norms, and also there are several national and international requirements to meet. But more than about 15 years back, this idea of green company came, and then some of the paper mills have taken advantage. And there are many other Indian industry from different sectors that are actually implementing. And I remember Mr. Sanjay Singh made a presentation in 2012 Greenco Summit. So how ITC has been pioneering many activities for several decades, and even referred in UN conference as one of the sustainable companies long time back. But with that kind of implementation of various initiatives, when they implemented Greenco, there are several benefits ITC could see, of course, with several other companies also. The first and foremost thing is the green culture. Okay. Even though we have target, we have capex, and then many technologies, but I think the green culture is very, very important. So we always compare the quality movement and the green movement. Okay. So late 80s and early 90s, how quality has become very critical. So ISO came, and today quality is the basic table stake. I mean, without quality, nobody can survive. Okay. I think something similar is becoming in terms of green and sustainability also. For that, we need people. I think the first and foremost benefit of implementing this green company is the green culture. So we'll involve different departments. Almost every department in a company is part of it. And similarly, people at the shop floor to middle and then senior most people are also part of this entire exercise. I think that's the biggest benefit Many companies are doing it. Then there are new concepts were introduced at the beginning itself, as I said, carbon neutral, water positive, and zero waste. So apart from that, the GHG management and product carbon footprint, climate risk analysis, circularity, all those are part of the guidelines. So obviously, the industry were ahead in terms of at least 3 to 5 years in the sustainability area by following this framework. Okay. And then there are a lot of other benefits like greening the supply chain. I mean, most of the companies, they are looking at their own operations, but through this program, people started working with their suppliers. Okay. So tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 suppliers. And today that is the basic requirement. As part of the BRSR, you have to work with your supply chain. And then now Uber is already implementing this framework. So obviously they are ahead compared to their peers and competitors. And even there are many other things like life cycle assessment. Okay. So first time it was introduced in the sector, industry in 2010-11, and today LCA has become much more popular. So definitely, these initiatives were reason behind the more and more awareness and then adoption of life cycle assessment. And I think today the product, digital product passport, it is going to have everything. So for that you need life cycle assessment, whatever the water footprint, carbon footprint, product carbon footprint, everything should be available for the product what we are manufacturing. In many ways, I think the green and sustainability through Greenco rating, it is helping the industry, and particularly the paper and pulp and paper sector also. Maybe I will share some more, the experiences and case studies as part of the discussion. Thank you.
That is the Greenco movement that we already had some inbuilt steps towards sustainability, and maybe policies came later. Because what's your take on that? Because maybe policy making, that helped probably, life cycle assessment, the beyond the boundary wall of the company, all that help, right?
I just add only one thing. When the Greenco framework was developed, it is always beyond regulation. Okay, so whatever regulation you have to meet, so that's a basic requirement. If somebody is above the regulations, they get certified bronze, silver, gold, and platinum.
Okay. Mr. Alagari, your opening remarks and say, sorry, it's not only technology, our theme says convergence. We put a stress on that convergence. You can, stick around, okay?
Good afternoon. I'll start with the national perspective and then come to industry specific and then come down further. The first thing is NDC 3.0. It has a very three critical objectives because the industry has to align with the national objectives in order to evolve policies. So the first one is to reduce the emission intensity by 47% from the 2005 basis. That is one. So there is a market-based mechanism which they are kicking it off. And the second thing is the entire national grid is going to be 60% renewable. It means more of renewable means it is expected to be the reduction in the tariff itself because it is going to be a trend. And third thing what I find is they are expecting a carbon sink of 3.5 to 4 billion tons to be created. This should be in between 31 to 35 and this has been notified in 26. It means we have a 10-year roadmap. So our industry policies or practices now it should be aimed or enveloping these objectives. That should be the way to look forward, I believe. The second thing is when I look at the industry, the three main challenges what we find is one is the fiber. Both virgin fiber as well as the recycled fiber, we have challenges. And the second is carbon intensity of the industry. And the third is water. I'll just give a brief of this. First thing is the fiber. So it is not the social or a farm forestry which is not going to be a solution down the line. It has to be linked with something else. For example, there is a program called as a Green Credit Program which Government of India has kicked off. It is used only for the offsetting, but if our plantation can be aligned with that, so that our plantation also qualifies for the green credits and then it forms a voluntary market, then that gets a value addition. Why I say this, we have moved from degenerative practices to compliance mode. From compliance mode, we move to sustainability. Now the way forward is a regenerative practices. It means something beyond sustainability we have to look in order to see the next horizon for this. So this is the one aspect. The second aspect aspect what I find is the recycle industry. Where the 70% of the volume of the paper is from the recycled fiber, whereas the recovery is 30%. So what Mr. Krishnan said yesterday. So with the 30%, we are scaling it up and we are importing it. Now what I feel is, we have an EPR for a plastic in order to contain the virgin plastic and also recycle the plastic. They also introduced for the metal sand, I think one more thing they have introduced, metal and glass, sorry. Now I am thinking of why can't this EPR can be given for the recycling the paper also. So what happens is the entire value chain from the collection to the recovery for the usage, that will create a value. So the industry can create a value not only by recycling the paper, it will also create first thing it will create a recycling percentage will go up. The second thing it will reduce the landfill. Third thing the consequence of the soil contamination, the groundwater contamination will come up, and there is a value chain in the society also. This is the consequences what it can happen. So the EPR and the waste paper recovery will be one option which we can look at it. And the third thing, suppose now apart from the fiber, when I look at the emission intensity, we are 1.5 ton per ton of approximately compared to 0.25 ton, which is around 6 times of what Europe emits. To enter into the Europe, we had to reduce our emissions by 1/6. So otherwise, we are somewhere around it is trading at $70 to $80 per ton is the carbon value to enter into the EU. And yesterday's presentation, they said that September 2027 onwards, the EU ETS will come down at 2030, but all the sectors in the EU will be opening up for the EBAN. So that is the consequences. If I look at the gap, we had to pay around 10,000 rupees per ton in order to enter into EU to sell our product. So the option is, how do we look inside in order to work ourselves, in order to reduce that intensity so that we get the entry into that barrier. So this is an opportunity. Now what is consequences it is happening is, if you look at the grid, so because more renewable is getting added to the grid cost is coming down, and the plants which are dependent on the imported coal, their generation cost is going up. To give you an example, in the entire Coimbatore district where we are operating, all the power plants have been shut down because their cost of generation is much higher than the cost of the grid. So that is the trend which is going up, which is driving the not only decarbonization in our generation, and also the grid also getting decarbonized. The third thing what I find is the water, which is a very significant from the security point of view. See, in the draft national water policy, which has been released around 10 years back, but it is not being notified till now. In that, after the thermal power plant, in the paper industry is the highest user of the water. So that is all the sequence they are given. So when if the country misses 2 consecutive monsoons, it will be under tremendous pressure will go through that. So we had a personal experience of how a dependent river flow will determine our business. So that is what we are looking forward. Solutions, yes, we have to think beyond sustainability, what we need to go further. One example I come to my mind is when the Supreme Court asked the Tirupur, all the mills in the Tirupur put up a CETP with a zero discharge. They started with something around 200 rupees per ton in order to recycle that water. Now they came down to 100 rupees per meter cube. That is what they could able to reduce by recycling salt, by introducing the mechanical vapor recompression methods. And also now they are going forward in order to get the renewable electricity in order to bring it down further so that they make it viable. Of course, they are passing on this cost for their exports and other in their garment industry. So there are the challenges in these areas, what I find, and we have to build the policies in such a way which is regenerative in nature and is in alignment with the national objectives, so that we have a better, we have a very good green footprint, but the point is we are not in the alignment. I feel it is, we have to meet that there is a need to align. The second point what I find is the Green Co certification. The Green Co certification, of course, it makes the plant greener, but maybe this is a time where the Green Co guidelines has to be aligned in such a way that the industry specific challenges are big and it is aligned with the national objectives, so that the industry can go forward to the government and seek for the policy changes in that direction. These are few.
Well, I'll tell you, very interesting perspective. Very interesting perspective. But Vikas, I have a few queries from you on behalf of all the delegates to make it simpler. how is going to the transition going from PAD to CCTS? What is mainly changing? Data collection wise, or from energy efficiency data to GHG intensity index, right? So just explain in simple terms and tell us about the carbon pricing part, because many units would be interested in the pricing part, how they are going to be benefited, and how many of the units, particularly pulp and paper, if you are aware of, have been designated already under this preview CCTS. Just a brief, for this would be a preliminary introduction for that.
Right, thank you. PAD to CCTS is very simple. Under PAD, you have been given the performer where you need to fill those data into it and keep those data sources into your place so that it can be verified, each and every data. In all, 53 numbers of industries have been notified, and it has came in October 2025, right, where initially four sectors have been given target. So now it goes to 7, including steel. Just few days back, the draft target was out. So in the first 4, pulp and paper was one of them, and they were given the target not with respect to the whole target, which the compliance years belongs to, 2 years. It was a retrospective target, that is the target has been cut down to the months that has been given. So October, that means from October to March. Okay. So by July 51st, you have to submit those data to Bureau of Energy Efficiency. That has to be verified by ACDA. Now, back to CCTS, there is a single difference is about where there we are counting the energy. So we are not bothered about what type of fuel you are using, right? But in CCTS, we are also bothering about the fuel that you are using. If you are not using coal, that means it will be an advantage for you with respect to baseline, because if you are using biomass, if you are using renewables, it will be, the emission will make 0. There, the PAD, there only we are talking about efficiency, energy efficiency, right? So, and also we are talking about some of the factors, carbon emission factors, which is, if that is not available with you, then we will take the IPCC guidelines or the factor that belongs to. So the transition is very simple. Earlier it used to be SEC, now it is GTG intensive. So in all, you have to keep that process very simple. Keep the data ready, keep the sources ready as well. Now, there we used to have the action plan to be submitted to me. Here we have monitoring plan to be submitted to me. Monitoring plan means you have to give all these processes, systems, name them, tag them, and include them into the monitoring plan. The monitoring plan is out, it is an Excel sheet. You can put all these things into the Excel sheet itself, and it will be done. But it has to be made very simple. Why? Because you don't have to maintain few registers, one for pollution, one for the management, one for the operations. You can keep only one register with one source of data. That's all. No, nothing to worry, but you have to keep it simple, because the coal sampling is also important, or any fuel that you are using, or any fossil fuel that you are using is also very important. So you have to keep that sampling plan, that testing systems in place, whether you are having the lab at your plant, if it is certified is very good. Otherwise, you have to keep this from the outside lab as well. So NAB accredited, it has to be accredited. So these plans has to be taken care into account. Now shifting, because now you are under CCTS, so there is no way that you are going back to PAT. So PAT is gone now for paper. The new plant may go to the PAT, but right now it is completely into the CCTS systems, where you have to submit all this data well before 31st. Now in October, the exchanges are in place. Exchanges are in place. There is three exchange, IEX, PXIL, and one Bharat exchange. So in three exchanges, the trading will take place, right? And you don't have to, and whatever you have earned the certificates, it will be transferred into the next compliance cycle only, compliance period only. That means within 2 years you have to take care of about your certificates, otherwise it will be lapsed. So what we are thinking and what is our say that maybe the price of the certificates can go up to $13-14 or can also come down to $15 as well. But we certainly are looking forward towards $8-9 at average price for the carbon certificates. That is what international carbon markets is also suggesting like this. Of course, European carbon markets is different, but China, Australia, or even Japan, they are hovering around this type of numbers where we want it. Of course, we are also trying to go ahead with the actual conditions what is plants are facing. We are going ahead with the different analysis of technologies. Paper plant, you will be getting some more forms with respect to technology implementation in a plant, in particular within 15 days, where you have to seek and be seeking the input from plant, which technologies that you have applied and what are the consequences, what is the investment, what is the savings that you have achieved. Based on that, those inputs from the plant, we are going to make the MAC curve, the investments and marginal cost as well, where we are going to give you the target based on those analysis itself. It is not that we come and give you abrupt targets like what has been given in PAT, that stand on 6% target to sectors. This time we are seeking some inputs from the plant itself about the technologies, what you have installed and what is there internationally or nationally, and we are also seeking some inputs for the TRLs. TRL more than 7 will be beneficial, not more than 9 is required, something like that. So there is a difference now with respect to PAT and CCS. Whatever we have learned in the PAT, now we are trying to make them advances into the CCS as well.
Oh, great.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, that was interesting. How do you, the transition is fine, but because one thing, I wanted to make it clear, that that means this policy is being aligned with our national commitment, right?
Yes, of course.
National commitment of net zero, 230, 250 and 270.
270, yes.
And to be aligned with the plant feedback, as you said, right?
Yes, yes.
So you have framed it that way.
Yeah.
And there is not going to be change in the format except for some extra measurements that the paper industry needs to carry out in terms of GHG.
Actually, in terms of when we worked on PAT, it was the GCV that was the important number, not in NCV. Right. This is the one change where you want NCV from the fossil fuel to be tested. Right, whether it is inside your plant or it is outside the plant, outdoor labs. That is one thing, and the change is about the emission factors that get included, because it has to be multiplied with the numbers of the quantity that has been used. These two things, of course, oxidation factor is one of the conditions, but right now we have taken it as one at present. But if you have the oxygen number within you, it can be done as well.
How do you assess performance of paper industry in terms of PAT? We thought we did a good job, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, paper industry leads the way basically. They have been, because it is beneficial for the paper. If you have transitioned from PAT to CCTS. Why? Because you are using maximum renewable energy. And you can use maximum as well, because you are basically going ahead with most of the practical systems or practical consumptions, as well as the biomass consumptions, and using all of these things. So it is more beneficial for the paper industry to come under the CCTS rather than that.
But still there is a long way to go, right?
There is a long way to go, because look at the condition. The targets was maximum 15%. That means the plant basically is not doing well. Those who are receiving it. So there is a gap. There is a gap between a good plant and also the bad plant as well. So they can have to.
Bad plant means how do you rate that because of the lack of technology?
Exactly. The older plants are not that good. So we are trying to integrate everything. We also, if we or district power is given a target, they should also help them out by means of green financing. That is one of the area where district power and green energy is also working on.
Oh, that's right. Incentives in terms of some.
Exactly.
Wonderful. One thing, that bad thing, when we did, you mentioned, the new plants who will not be covered under CCTS. You are not covered under. They will still start with a bad scheme. It's gone totally.
It is a discussion. How do we start with the new plant?
New plant. You are not designated as
right.
Yeah.
So there is a discussion that how whether it should start with first pattern and CCTS or straight away to go to CCTS plant.
Okay.
Because there are lots of things that needs to be learned by the plant as well. The plant who has worked on the fat, they are not fully matured to get all this data. They can also manipulate as well. But yes, we are trying to include those plants into the CCTS first, most probably.
Thank you. Muthu, I have a few clarification, just for the benefit of the delegation. Now, sustainability, the definition has changed totally, right? Sustainability is no more less planting trees or, reducing some water consumption. It's not that, How do you define sustainability in simplest term? What we need to really do now?
Sure.
Earlier we had an impression, when crab came and then fat came, that, plant mode, it's not only confined to that, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly, sustainability is now, it sounds a big word. Of course, it's the most common thing. Without sustainability, we are not going to survive in coming years. But, define in a simplest way.
Sure. I think early days, green means it's only planting trees, as you rightly said. That was the perception of the people. But today, still, sustainability means reporting or the sustainability report or part of the annual report. That's the kind of thing most of the organizations are looking at. But today, many of the proactive organizations, they have gone beyond all these things, and then they are having a clear target in terms of climate action. So I think climate is the major environmental impact which we all talk about, the 2 degree centigrade. So there I think net zero is a clear focus where the paper sector is also well positioned in terms of contributing in terms of reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. I think like we talked about almost 3 to 4 million tons of CO2 sequestration is not the target we have. I think the paper industry, they are in a good position to facilitate that kind of a big number. And then, of course, from the technology point of view also, I think people have moved forward, and I think from the complaints-oriented approach to a proactive approach where we are looking at how to include the circularity, how to ensure that the water positive status can be achieved over a period of time. Similarly, the zero waste landfill are having more and more circular products, recycled products. I think these are all part of the company's target and our action plan. So maybe this panel is on the policy, technology and sustainability. Maybe I would like to share a few things about the technology where the Greenco experience and also the CA experience with some of the bodies like Niti Aayog. I don't know how many of you know, Niti Aayog has been working on front-end technology hub for digital part. Okay. Whatever the objective of the government of India in terms of the developed India by 2047, how front-end technology can contribute. Okay. They have identified some 20 different sectors, right from MSMEs or startups or social aspects. Then one of the major focus is on green economy. How the front-end technologies can help in terms of achieving green economy targets, like ultimately 2070 net zero target, but there are several other targets for 2030 and also 2047. So here I think we had an excellent session in the morning where how the artificial intelligence and other digital technologies are going to help, and there are a lot of case studies also discussed. But here Niti is working on future for next 20-25 years. So as part of it, of course, artificial intelligence is going to be a major focus because that's what it's going to predict, and then it's going to, I mean, based on the data, it is going to improve efficiency, productivity, and ensure quality and many other things. Then the IoT is again very critical because it's all interlinked. You need data, so IoT is going to be a major focus. There are several startup companies which are working on IoTs where for Internet of Things you need internet. But today there are startups, you have only one modem where it will cover almost 3 to 4 kilometer radius of the plant, and with that you can have hundreds of thousands of meters to monitor your parameters like temperature, pressure, or even water, energy, and many things. And in the process, it has become cheaper, and also more and more data is available. That's more useful for artificial intelligence also to perform well. And then digital twin is another area where it's becoming very important. There are several examples. Recently we had a case study from BPCL. BPCL for their refinery, they have implemented a digital twin basically to mimic the process and then get the real-time data in the digital twin, and also simulate different kind of scenarios, predict, and then using that optimize and then improve the overall productivity and performance. I think digital twin is also becoming more important. And then there are several other things like the high-speed cameras, and then even there are startups working on segregating the waste using artificial intelligence with high-quality cameras, and then it is already practiced in some of the sectors, waste segregation sectors. I think that those kind of technologies will also become more important. There are many things happening. So even Tata Steel has been investing a lot in terms of the predictive maintenance and also the overall productivity of the blast furnace using the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So there are many examples already there. I think
that's great. Can you point out one single emerging technology where we can adopt? Because see, incorporating artificial, all these technologies we know is emerging and we have to do it. But do we need some preparation like basic engineering, basic mechanical engineering? Unless we have that in order, will we be able to implement this digitalization? And
I think the experts who spoke in the previous session, I think they spoke about artificial intelligence is the right now the moment in terms of implementing in a paper plant also. I think there are already
what I really meant was basic. We need to prepare the background, right? The total structure first, so that this technology will there be some interest, or it can be so easily implemented. Some plants, like Vikas said, some plants, they are at certain level. Some need to do a lot. So they have been, categorized actually, right? For the policy or for this thing. So maybe, ITC could probably implement, right? But there are many plants, including SMECs, who would, need some basic structure, modernization or optimization when these can be implemented. You got my point?
I got your point. Okay. See, what is happening overall in terms of the climate action? I think one of the first lever is the energy efficiency lever. I think energy is also almost 25-30% of the manufacturing cost of any pulp and paper unit is for energy. So that continues to be the first focus, and I think there are, apart from the conventional energy saving methods, I think there are new technologies coming up. I think heat pump is one where even because they also talk. So how to implement heat pump in a big way? Say also in the recent Greenco Summit we have launched the heat pump alliance. There are about 15 heat pump suppliers, they are together, and then CA is going to get a pilot project in terms of implementing heat pumps which are for higher temperatures. I think up to 100-120 degrees centigrade heat pumps are successful, and especially the smaller requirement where, for example, hotel industry is implementing heat pumps in a big way because it's a straight ROI for them. But how to have even up to 200 degrees centigrade level, so that's what we are working on. So that may be a future technology where. And overall, I think electrification itself is going to be a major focus. So today we have only, as a country, I think around 19-20% is what the electrification we have. But the developed countries are close to 50 or 60%. Our target is to achieve at least 30% by 2050. So in that process, I think many technology will come towards the electrification. Already electric boilers are available up to about 200 degrees centigrade. But there are research happening from the cement and steel sector point of view. Using plasma technology, they are looking at even 800 degree or 1000 degree centigrade also through electric route. Okay. Then electric with a renewable source like solar, wind or small hydro. So that is going to be again future technology, which we may see by 2030 or beyond.
Great. What's your take, Kalagari, on this point? Implementation, of course you are implemented, you are the historian guy,
Before getting into the AI, as far as the technologies are concerned, I'll put it in three buckets. One, which is technically proven, commercially viable.
Right.
That is the first category. The second category, technically proven, commercially is not viable or difficult to make it viable. That is the second category. The third category, scientifically proven but not commercially established. Right? So if you look at these three buckets, the first bucket invariably you should have consumed. If you would like to be at least the basic minimum efficiency. Anybody who catches up with this technology in the second bucket, right? How do you make a technology which is already proven, but it is not becoming commercially viable? How do you make that commercially viable is the challenge. So if you're able to do that, you will be ahead of the curve. So that makes the difference. So one example, we had it in our plant, our high pressure recovery boiler, which made it happen in something like that. So third category, what I see is scientifically proven, our pilot plants may be established, but not commercially rolled out. So these are the areas, the technologies where we need to look at it. For example, if you look at the entire energy profile of a paper industry, 30% is electricity, 70% is a thermal. The point is 30% can be substituted with the renewable, not a problem. But the 70% substituting with the thermal, with the alternative thermal is not easy, and we don't have an option. Now how do you do that? The one way is how do you improve the efficiency of this thermal application, where the dryers. If you look at this dryer technology, this is 200-year-old technology. Not much difference has been made, only the metallurgy has changed in order to improve the heat transfer coefficient, but the technology is same. Now, unless if you would like to make something different in that, we cannot make a very transformative change. For example, in US, one of the mill or a plant, they use ultrasonic waves to dry the paper in combination with the steam. So that's how, in order to reduce the intensity, it increased the heat transfer efficiency, heat transfer time also. So thereby they reduced it. So it is also possible if you bring down, if it is a higher temperature steam, if you bring down under vacuum, so it evaporates much at a lower temperatures. So under, like a deaeration under pressure, it is a deaeration in vacuum is possible. Similarly, you can evaporate the moisture in the board by bringing that into the vacuum. So such scientific principles are available, but the point is how do you bring it as a form of a technology? So this is an area where I find, this is one. Before we getting into those things, how do you electrify some of the things through giving the energy through the electricity rather than through the thermal route? Say for example a coater can be normally through the thermal route we are drying the coating solutions, but can we look at it through the electrical route? So we have to look at this aspect so that at least any initiative, it should go into that segment so that it sustains.
Thank you so much. One thing, maybe on behalf of the paper industry also, the interesting thing, as the consumers demand sustainable packing now, right? How can industry ensure that the technology advancement in sustainability is transparent and verifiable and not a good marketing? Did you get that question? How can it be verifiable? I market it so well, right? I market it so well that, I do sustainability. How can that be verified? Now all consumers are asking for green packing,
I don't have honestly a right answer, but look at an Android phone and Apple phone.
Yes.
Apple doesn't do any advertisement. Okay, you look at any luxury car like a BMW or Mercedes, so they don't do that advertisement in order to promote their cars. So the branding itself speaks about the sustainability. So that is implicit, not explicit, but implicitly conveyed some of the products through their brands. So similarly, that is one. If we are dealing with B2B, basically as a paper industry, so it is, I feel it is much easier in order to demonstrate the sustainability, because what we are going is not to the consumer, but to the business. From there we are going to the consumer. So it is possible, if you are transparent, it is possible to convey. There are certain customers who would like to have a very sustainable products, and with the companies which are following their sustainability. So there is an effort required. It is something like not a straight sales. It is a marketing which is required in order to properly pitch it and properly present it.
You are also talking about traceability.
Yes.
Traceability. I mean, how will you, I mean, as an end customer, whether it is really recycled or not, how will you know? I think that's the question you have also added with how to market more. I think even EUDR is also talking about 100% reforest-free, wood or whatever the raw material for making the paper. And I think 30th December 2025 onwards it is effective, and mostly it is effective for a lot of food-related products which are exported from India to Europe, which includes the wood also, the pulp and paper packaging. If you are exporting to Europe, it will come under EUDR. So EUDR also looking at traceability, and that is where blockchain technology will be useful. So where suppose a farmer who is, a truck which enters into the mill with a wood or any agro-based raw material, and immediately the farmer uploads the GPS location of the wood it is harvested, and then immediately the satellite image checks whether it is from deforest based land or not. Okay, then once that is there, then blockchain immediately records, and then that verifies yes, it is from sustainably sourced raw material. And then again, I think finally it will be part of the digital product passport. So every reel of the paper which is going out of the mill will have some QR code. So whoever is the customer, if they wanted to know about the product, they just scan the QR code, then they'll know what is the carbon footprint, what is the source of the raw material, what is water footprint, and then even what are the other sustainability standards the company has got. I think that is going to be the future.
Right.
Maybe I think one of the question is like, how do you anticipate paper industry by 2030? Maybe I think including the artificial intelligence, between blockchain. So these are all integrated in the entire supply chain of making paper till it goes to the customer. I think then the traceability also will be foolproof.
Cutting from this short, because even you have a flight to take. So I'll be short, before I think I intend finishing in another 5-7 minutes maximum. So tell me two more important. You mentioned about culture in the organization. Any of you, like you or even Aragari, culture, because I noticed that change. Be short, how important is the people's involvement in this movement? Sustainability is going to be a convergence, I know, but how we are going to, how is the people involvement, how it has affected you, and how important it's going to be in this journey?
Change is thought-driven. But sustenance of the change, it depends upon the people who take it forward. The point is, the person who's initiated the change will not be there for long. So the point there, what becomes is, slowly inculcating that change. It's just time consuming, there is no doubt in that. First step of barrier comes in acceptability from the status quo. The second step comes in following that. The third step comes in how it may integrate with the organization. So we have a barriers, 2 or 3 barriers to overcome that. So then only it is possible. Now the challenge is that the resource who is driving this organization need to be available for that given period of time in order to have that change and drive that change. it is a challenge because of the attrition, because of their aspirations. It is very difficult to have that. So the one way of bringing it up to other is, like for example, certifications, like a Green Co certification, other certification, we will integrate with the system, so that organization, irrespective of who are there, it goes along with that systems. The person who takes the responsibility aligns with that and delivers that. So this is one way of going through that. So the systems are also should be very live, and it is, you should respond to the industry requirements. That is the reason I said Green Co, though it is a certification, it is good, but it has to align with the industry objectives. For example, we have so much of plantation, but we don't have any criteria in the Green Co, right?
Plantation.
So we need to connect with something else. So we need to little changes in that in order to make it more aligned.
Sorry.
That is one thing. Second thing is, and also we have to pitch these certificates with the government. So see, if you look at the number of paper mills who have been certified by Green Co, hardly few. Right? So it is not that seller, it is the buyer has to get attracted towards this. So it should be driven by the user.
But I believe the Green Co movement has made a great change, cultural change in your organization.
Yes, it is true. It is true, it has made a change, because after 2-3 certifications it has gone down, and it has made what is, because green has become a part of it.
What you wanted, the impact was made, right?
Yes, lean and green, that is made as a part of it. The green is,
Again, you have to
Integration.
speed up the thing, close it. You have to close it up. Session. You have to close the session.
Okay. For any particular reason, can I take 5 more minutes? Okay, sir, sorry, I just, I wanted to give the delegate some time, but okay. Something, maybe I'll just ask the last question maybe. What is the biggest challenge? Fiber availability or energy cost? Fiber. Biggest challenge, digital media or plastic packaging? That is the biggest challenge? Okay, great. Pick one, electrical boiler or upgrading the paper machine?
Paper machine.
Not electrical boiler? Then how do we go for the carbon zero thing?
No, actually, it depends on the individual as well. Like if you're depending, it has to come.
Okay. Your preference, a note on a digital pad or paper?
It's paper.
Really?
Because digital is
Not carrying it under because
digital is for to transfer the knowledge, and paper is for thinking.
okay. Great. Achha, one closing question I had thought of. By 230 vision, right? Hallmark of success for any competitive pulp and paper plant. Technology, product diversification, or regulatory adaptation. You got, should I repeat it?
Got it. It's a combination of all. It's a combination of all. It has to be. Otherwise,
Combination of all. Okay. One action point for delegates. Takeaway: how to align policy, technology, and sustainability in their operation. How to align. We have been talking conversions, right? But one important point, you can just throw on.
it's basically a data-driven system. So you make the measurements first and take the action.
Okay. I'm thankful, sir, because you too have to take a flight. Big profound thanks on behalf of IFTA to you all for coming in, joining us, and sorry rushing you over a bit. But anyway, I tried my best to expect many things from you, but it could have gone on and on. I think 1 hour is not sufficient, I admit. Maybe you will take care of the next time and have more interaction. Thank you very much.